Good morning. This is Angela with Dogwood Paper Arts. Welcome to my channel. Thank you to all my subscribers and hello new subscribers. Glad to have you with us. We are working on presently a little Tim Holtz, maybe like a traveler's journal. The journal itself will be in here. And so far we've done the front half. It's not finished. It needs pockets. It needs tags. Needs something here. I don't know what. This is a writing area. But we need maybe a tag or something decorative on elements on there. We need big journaling cards to go in here. Just some sort of ephemera in these little pockets. Now these little pockets I did not put paper in because it would get too thick and bulky. I need to write down my time. It's 10:55. Otherwise I will hold you guys over for a long time because I lose track of time. So we are back here on the back of the journal. This is the center with the journal in it. So that brings us to here. And I have this piece of paper that's going to go here. And I have this one that's going to get tucked under there. This one is going to go on here. Yes. But before we can do this part, or in this part, we have to do this little part. Now remember, I was going to put 3 pockets on here. I decided against that and decided to go with a tying belly band. So this pocket, even though it's taken up with eyelets, it still will take a tag in it. Right now it's not working very well, but there we go. I need to stretch the pocket out a little bit. But it will still take a small tag in it. And that's what I think will be good. So, in order to put this here, we're going to have to work on this envelope, which is the next page of our book. And I want to put it right along the edge here, but you want it over far enough that it can flip open and down, just in case. So in other words, don't put it on here because that will cause this to bow up. It will come undone eventually. So it will stick out just slightly down there, but it'll be good. So let's glue that down. And then when we get to the top one, I'll show you how I did the envelopes again. It's basically the same as what we've been doing. And putting, well, it's what we're going to do with the big envelope too. We're covering the back, which, you know who I learned that from? I learned it from Rachel at Roxy Creations. I was like, oh, that's how you take care of those envelopes. So this is going to go on here. We need to leave a little space here for trimming this edge off. Anyway, Rachel at Roxy Creations is the one who taught me that, how to close an envelope and still have full use of it. Funny, isn't it? What you learn from people and remember. But it was like a big aha moment for me. I was like, oh, I see. So here's the first one. Now I trimmed that piece off because we do not want it inside of our envelope. Like I just was saying, we want full use of this envelope. And we're going to obtain that. Let me just close this piece. In how we close it up, which is the piece that I learned from Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. It was very sweet of you to teach us that. I know I sure appreciate it. Okay, let's set that aside. And you're going to need a total of 6 eyelets. And your art glitter glue. And you're going to need a little envelope, your big envelope, and 2 little cards that will fit on the small envelope. Okay, now I want this piece on top because it's going to kind of match with this color, which is on the facing page over there. So, sorry, this piece on top because it sort of matches here. And this is going to go under. Okay, so we're set up. Let's glue this together. Let's do that first. Let's do the front. I've already inked everything. This really is going to be a fairly fast project because I have the pre-made envelopes and not junk mail envelopes. It makes it a little bit quicker. And all my envelopes I got at Amazon, unless I tell you otherwise, but otherwise that's where they all came from. Okay, closing an envelope so you still have full use of it when you need to make the cut on the end. Okay, of course we're going to take up some space with these eyelets. So what you do is you go around the edge of one piece. And you fall off the edge with your glue, like that. Then you go around the inside of the main outside of the envelope, not the inside of the envelope, sorry. You want to be sure that you don't get glue on the inside of the envelope, which I am desperately trying to do today. Not on purpose, just, hey, it's just how it's going this morning. Okay. I'm going to move some of that down. Wipe my fingers off. And then this goes right on here. And that little line of glue that we put up here is going to seal that envelope shut. I got too much glue on that one. Oh, earlier I had a glue explosion. I was gluing a piece in on the front part inside the envelope, and I just was gluing down inside the envelope like this. Well, the whole cap popped off and there went the glue. Ah, what a remarkable day. Okay, now before we go any further, if you need to let your glue dry, do that, but we need to cut this little side off. Now you want to cut the side off so that it opens to the outside of your journal. So on this journal, it's on the right side. This flap is going to get glued down up here, just like that. So let's cut this off first, because once it's on there, we're not going to be able to cut it. And I'm just slicing off a little tiny bit, guys, just a tiny bit. And it marred my paper because, you guessed it, the glue is wet. So I'm just going to unmar it as best as I can. And then I'm going to get my ink dauber, or whatever you call these. I call them daubers, old-fashioned I am. And I'm just going to get Get rid of all that white edging. And now I need to put a little thumb hole in it, because once we get the other things in there, it's going to be hard to get in there. So I am trying to squish this in here like this. I just want a little hole, not much, and then go ahead and ink that up so that it kind of inks your thumb hole, just like that. Okay, let me put my pin in my glue and clean my little metal glue tip off, just so that it works better. Okay, now we need to use our crocodile to punch holes. And we are going to use the 3/16 inch hole, which is the bigger one. And I have this set at 1/4 of an inch to go inward. So on the opposite side of this, we're going to measure. Now I had this originally made for the envelope that we hadn't cut the edge off of yet. So take your little pencil, make your little lines, not like that. That was a naughty line. Okay, so now I don't know if you can see those, but we have some little lines on there. See right there, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to take this on the 3/16 inch, the bigger hole. And like I said, I've set that at 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to line the pencil line up inside of there. This one's harder to see. Okay, so now you want to glue this one down here. Oh no, wait, we forgot something. Eyelets. I know I have some here. I'm just using brown eyelets instead of my usual coppery ones or antique gold ones. I chose the brown because of mostly because of the cigar packaging and lots of browns in this journal. I thought this would go well. There we go. Okay. Now this important part is to try and line, these holes should just about line up. But most importantly, you want to line your envelope up. Let's see. Yeah. If we line our envelope up with the edge, with this one over here or this here, our holes are actually going to line up just fine. So, let's see if we can do this. I don't know if this will work. Just going to give it a little line. No, that won't work. So we know that it's right about there. 1/8. Well, just over 1/8. Not even 3/16. I mean, it is just over 1/8, which is right about there. So this corner has got to be right about there. So forget this line underneath, because that did not work. I measured crookedly. But now we're ready. Okay. Shake my glue. Oops. Okay, so that's going to go there, but it has to line up. Remember to leave room for this to open at the top so that it's not buckling this piece of paper right here. Okay, I think that's good enough. This still works, so that's good. Okay, press it down. If any of this sticks over, cut it off. And then we want to put this on the inside. Now make sure it's right side up. And once again, we're going to glue this closed, but leave it so we can still cut this open. Now we may have to cut it open with the scissors this time, or with a blade. We'll see. I don't know if we can get it in the cutter. Now there's an owie on the Tim Holtz paper there. No, it's one of the white labels. But I didn't ink this one, so let's ink it up. Not that we actually need to ink it too much, but I still like to get rid of all the super white edges. Because it won't look as vintagey if we leave them all there, will it? Now, I do want to get in here, fold that back, and just ink that fold there, just in case it shows, which it actually should show. Okay. Now make sure your paper's right side up. And once again, we're going to glue around the edge. And I'm using a pretty good line of glue here because if it starts to dry out before I get back to it, it will still have some wet glue kind of under the skin that starts to form on the top. That makes sense? So it won't dry all the way through. So then this one, we go around the outside edge. And even though I've put some on the edges of the paper, I'm still going to get closer to the edges. But I do want to keep glue out of this part, except for this right here. Oh boy, look at all that glue Angela got in there. I'll make sure these still do their thing, and they do. And I want to be sure that still works, and it does. Okay, now we do not want to glue this into the book right yet. Oh, look at that. Got it a little bit crooked there. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and cut it down. Oh, let's see. No, because we're going to put the other pocket on there, but we don't need to. Okay, fine. We'll go this way. We'll have to. I was trying to put the glue towards the bottom. Okay, now this is just a little tiny cut along this edge, you guys. It's just tiny. And because it's gluey wet, I'll probably have to finish it with my scissors. Okay, make sure you didn't glue the inside, and we didn't, so we're good. Now we need to ink that up along the edge, and then we're going to put some paper on the inside. Oh, look at that, there's a piece I missed cutting off. There we go. Now you get to be like the rest of everybody else. I have some stuff glued on the back here. I'm just going to go through and ink up the edges on this envelope because I forgot. Sorry about that. I do want to get these edges nice and dark because they're going to show all the way around the journal. Well, yes, they are, all the way around. Okay, so there we are. Now let's find some scrap papers over here. We could put that on the inside. There's going to be a little hole punch there. Or we could put the exercising guy on the inside. We also have black. I don't want to put black on the inside. I'm almost thinking about using this, but we can also use, I have some Tim Holtz scraps here. Let's see. Oh, I got lots of ephemera in here. This is not a scrap, but oh my goodness. Hail. It's all falling over me. It's not a scrap, but oh, it has a woman on it. We don't want that. This would be okay. It's not a scrap, like I said, but it will get me where I'm going. What I was saying was, I don't like to put really dark on the inside of the envelopes. It makes it harder to see in there. If you put lighter in, it will reflect some of the light into what's in your envelope. Whew, that was complicated. Now, this does not need to go through the whole envelope. Only needs to really go about halfway into the envelope. I'm just lining it up now so that I can mark this off. Probably right about there. And then we'll have one. You know, he looks like a cigar smoker. I think maybe we'll save him for we're going to save him. We might have to use him in there somewhere. So we're going to mark it off here. And right about here. And then we'll cut another one the same depth over here. So that's going to be right about here. Okay. Doesn't matter if one is bigger than the other. Well, that's pretty close. Going to just put those two together and cut it right here where I marked my line. There we go. And let's see. Let's ink up the edge. You want to be sure your writing is going in the right direction with your journal. This has writing going this way. It has some going this way too. But I just like to kind of, you know, have things going in the right direction because I don't need to ink all this. I just needed to ink this part. Oh goodness. I'd like to do a little bit on the corners. Right there. Just in case it shows. Okay. So what I was doing earlier was I put this in like this and I held it right over here. Lined it all up. And I was doing this. And my glue did just what it's doing right now, not working. There it goes. Sometimes it's just a little easier this way. I don't know why. And I just wanted to squeeze that together like that. And take a look at it, make sure I got it. Oh, almost. I might have to cut some of that off. I gotta peek in there and make sure I didn't get down too far. I didn't. It doesn't have to be right up along the edge. Thank goodness, because it's not. We'll do the other one the other way. That edge goes up. Probably should just use a glue that gives me a little more working time. Gosh, I hope we're in camera, and I haven't even looked. I'm so sorry if I've been out of camera. Okay, press that down. Then open it up and make sure there's no glue seeping out on the inside anywhere. Okay, so now we are ready to glue this one to here. What about these, you say? Well, we're going to look at those in a moment, but not right this second because it'll get too heavy. So like before, we want to glue this down so that it will still pop over the edge without buckling this little piece right along there. Now it is getting kind of curvy, so that's because we're building upward. And we have not made our little building earthquake proof. But if you should have an earthquake, you should be able to write in it afterwards and write all about it for your future generations. You go down, you go up. Okay, so we are, before you squish it down, make sure everything is lined up. Make sure it can still open without buckling, and it does fine. Take that glue, rub it all down. Now, if you feel like it kind of starts buckling, you know, you can always put some extra washi tape along here or whatever. You know, anything you can think of to help your journal stay well built is a good idea. Now, that paper, we are going to use this one. Look at that, isn't that nice? So pretty with all that. Yeah, okay. Very nice. I gotta ink it up. I thought I inked all this. I didn't ink at all, did I? I only inked a little bit. Oh well. It's the way it goes. Little inking is okay. It's part of the process. If you're an inker. If you're not an inker, then it's not part of your process, which is fine too. A lot of people don't ink. I did not used to ink, but once I started, I couldn't quit. First, I did not like it at all. It did not appeal to me. I thought it looked dirty and messy, and then I learned why. Because it looks vintage. It starts to take on a beautiful vintage appeal. And I love vintage. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I love doilies and stuff. It doesn't matter if they have stains in them. I just love them. And so I do tend to collect things like that. Now don't press this down too quickly. You want to line it up good along this front edge here, but you do not want it to go over that fold right there. We already have these in the way, but we're going to take care of that in just a minute. Well, I'm going to show you how we're going to take care of it, but we're not taking care of it till we get it finished. Till we get to the end. Okay, so I need to look at this one and see who has the hole punch. It's this side. So I am going to need the hole punch in here. Now, I want to make sure it is centered between these two, or it's going to look really odd. I could center it, you know, between the envelope, which should be about 4 1/4. Let's see, 4 and, yeah, because it's 8.5, right? 4 1/4. So let's look right here between these two. Yeah, it looks like it's still going to be okay. 3/4 on that side, 1/4 over there. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. Okay. Now, if for some reason you open this and see that it's not quite glued, this is a good time to put some glue in there. And just squish it closed. Okay, so right here we need, I think I'm using the bigger thumb hole, the bigger hole punch. Right about, I think right about there. Now they don't like to cut on wet gluey things. I'm going to flip this a little sideways. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's a little deep, but it's okay. And we'll get that a little vintaged up there, like somebody's been putting their thumb in there quite a bit. And okay, so I'm going to show you what my plan is here. I have some different designs. Now, to me, it seems like I've seen this design on cigar bands. It's not a ribbon, of course, but I was thinking, now that is really quite cool. So my thought is that I could use this, but first I need to see what it looks like. So if I'm going this way, like this, but it needs to go this. I don't know if I have enough. I have 2 of them. The bad thing about this is that you have to figure out a way to get it to flip over. So you have front and back, and I don't like that. So that won't work for me. I don't like the way that looks. The other thing I have is this one. But now this is quite thick, so I think that's out. Now I have this one, and it is nice and thin, but I'm afraid it might break. But I have a lot of it. It just needs to be a belly band. It doesn't need to hold a ton of stuff. Got the first one wrong. Because I want to go over the top. Okay. So, there we go. And then we will tie that. Not so tight that it bends your book to heck. And it will probably get tied in a knot and not a bow, because, you know, it's kind of manly. Kind of a manly journal. And then that's your belly band. So let me find a piece of paper that I can slip under there. Well, this would be in a knot, like I said. But there you go. It would have your paper under it, like that. So, we will be adding pockets to this, but it's 11:35 right now, so I'm going to let you go before we start on the next pocket, which is, now it's the same as we did before, so I will probably finish this up, this piece, because remember we remade our envelope smaller to fit right along the edge. Or we can do another flip down or flip up or flip out. We may do a flip out on this one. And that would work after we cut the edge off. So, okay, well, I'll be thinking about that. And when we come back, we'll get it done. And we'll figure out what we want to do with the front cover. We'll figure out what we want to do with pockets and writing journaling cards, and then we have a signature to sew in. Now, I need to do something with this pinky background. Originally I was going to make it as a woman's journal, and then it kind of turned manly. So I need to do some stamping or something on here. Anyway, we'll decide that when we get back. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you all next time. Don't forget, thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel. And share my videos if you'd like on Facebook or Twitter, Pinterest. Sharing's appreciated. Okay. Bye.